Release. Oh, well, hello. Come on. Releasing of repressed emotions. Cancer, please listen to your friend Marlo. I'm just saying. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your December soul session. I am Marlo. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and what's not, or whatever. If you're not familiar with what my soul sessions are, they are your spirituality as well as personal development readings in which we look at the energies that you guys may encounter for a given month for the sole purpose of giving you clarity, insight, and guidance and all that good stuff and whatnot. Or whatever. So since these cards are flying out, let's go ahead and jump right in. The first card out that you guys have is the Hierophant in the reverse. Of course, that is Taurian energy. Then we have the Five of Cups in the reverse. Then we have the Three of Wands in the reverse, and my autofocus is not being nice to us today. Oh, goodness. Come on, autofocus. I just want you to be a good person. Thank you so much. Okay, there it goes. All right, we have the Three of Wands in the reverse. And then we have the Three of Swords in the upright. So what it is looking like, my wonderful Cancerians, coming out of November and into December, this very well could have something to do with a Taurus person. And it would not be a good Taurus person because you guys already know I've already said I cannot see the Hierophant and the reverse the same, but I feel in some sense or another, whatever it is we're talking about, whether this is a person or this is situational, this is more or less a mirage is what I want to say, which is strange. A mirage. It's more or less feeling playing a certain role, or if it's a person, the certain role that this person played. And I see it more or less as you guys seeing this as you're out, if that's making sense. Like seeing this, how can I say it? Okay, like say if you knew a person who, I don't know, like said they ran a company or something like that, and they're like, oh yeah, I can get you a job, I can get you a job, I can get you a job. It's almost a sense of kind of putting your eggs in one basket with this particular person and that not quite panning out. Or if we say this in a romantical kind of sense, it's like a Cancerian who completely gave up hope on relationships or dating again. And it's meeting a person and thinking this person was like super dope, but then ending up finding out that they were like manipulative megalomaniac type of person, you know. So it's more or less what Cancers would be grieving in that regard is not just this relationship. It's grieving this and grieving the wound that existed prior to it, if that's making sense. And there's a level of not really knowing how to move forward, because it's kind of like a mindset where this is the same thing that happened again. Like if I were to say it from Cancer's perspective, it's like, you know, I thought this particular thing was going to work out for me. I thought this person was different. I thought this job was different. I thought, you know, I've suffered enough kind of vibe. And it's having hope in something or having faith in this particular thing. And I feel this person's situation, whatever this Hierophant in the reverse is representing, was more or less like a dud, right? So it seemed like the end all be all. And this is reminding me of something I said last month. Where I was saying, like, when, like, say if you pray for something or you set an intention for something, I don't remember what sign it was, but I was saying that it's important to be kind of leery, because whenever we set an intention for something to come into our lives, the is not is paradigm has to happen, right? So the is not has to manifest before the is. So this is kind of like being in a romantic relationship with a person you know wasn't good for you, releasing that person. And it took you a lot of courage to release this person. And then suddenly another person comes in. And because you said that prayer of, you know, spirit, I'm ready for, you know, my wife or my husband or whatever, when this person shows up out of the blue, it's the thought of, oh, this is the answer for my prayer, right? So it's kind of throwing caution to the wind and not really intricately dissecting it and really seeing, is this person a good person type of deal. It's more or less, I prayed, in comes this opportunity or this person. So this is like the saving grace, if you will, right? But it's this coming in, realizing that this was a dud or it doesn't work out, and it's kind of reopening that wound. So you didn't know how to move forward before this person or situation, right? And then this person or situation comes up, disappoints you, and now it's rehashing that grieving process all over again, if that's making sense. I hope that makes sense. But I'm gonna go ahead and clarify. Okay. Conversation. Oh my. So is this like ooh, that kind of brings that into the present tense here. Okay, so the thing I feel with this Cancer, that changes the dynamic a tad bit. Okay, this is either information that was overheard. This is either something that was overheard by Cancer, or, and this is so strange of how I'm even thinking about this. This is a really weird thing, but it's coming up, Cancer, so I have to say it. I'm thinking about Cupid and Psyche, like the Greek mythological story. And there's one part in this story where, you know, the Oracle of Delphi says to, Psyche's dad that she's supposed to marry a monster, leave her, on the edge of the abyss, blah, blah, blah. So they leave her, and then, the wind picks her up, the Zephyr wind, and brings her to, Cupid's palace, whatever. And she never gets to see Cupid because he only comes in the nighttime type of thing. And then she goes back to visit her family and her two sisters that are extremely jealous of her. They were jealous that she had so much nice stuff that they like plant a seed of discord in her mind. And they're like, because she's saying the only catch is, it's like, he takes care of me, this and that, but I can only like see him in the nighttime. And he told me not to look at his face. Right. So the sisters are like, oh, you should definitely, get a lamp and see his face, and get a knife and slit his throat because, the Oracle said that he's a monster. Right. So he's probably going to kill you eventually. So kill him before he kills you, type of deal. Right. And she does it, and then Cupid like leaves her because he's like, this is the only thing that I asked you not to do, type of deal, right? I feel a vibe like that the part specifically is the fact that the sisters who were jealous, it's like she's telling them about how great her life is now, and because they were jealous of her, it's like they planted seeds in her head to make her doubt what it is that she knew initially. So I'm feeling like a vibe like that. Still within the vein of like having hope in this particular situation, you know what I mean? But it's like almost someone making you doubt it, if that makes sense. Like people saying like, oh, well, how could this work, or how could that work out, or and kind of like finding flaws in the plan, if you will. And another way that I could see this is almost as if it's something that you overhear. So it's more or less how you find out that this thing isn't what it seems to be is, I don't want to say like gossip, but it's like overhearing something, or passing by an office door and oh, come on, passing by an office door and hearing a conversation about this, to where it creates this disillusionment type of thing. Dude, this is so much, because this is reminding me again of that. I think that was in Scorpio. I think when I was talking about the whole dynamic with like Muhammad and Malcolm X and stuff like that. it feels like something like that, like a person that Cancer looked up to or something along those lines, and then finding out that they're not what they're cracked up to be, or they aren't really who you thought they were. And with them not being who you thought they were, it kind of sends you on this tailspin where you're grieving the same thing that you were grieving before. But here's the deal. The whole thing with this is, and this reminds me of Capricorn's soul session, is because I'm seeing this whole recycling energy that's happening like in the first week of December. So like between the 28th to like, I would say the first week is the 28th through the 4th, but I'd really say like between like the latter part of November up until like the 11th of December, it's like, it's this energy where everyone is coming in one way. Like November, everything was copacetic. And then we come into December and there's like a screech of the brakes, and it's taking us back through a previous cycle. But the whole premise of this is I'm seeing it as like residual energy, like this being something like you being disappointed again, right? And you're grieving this new heartbreak in accordance with the old one. It's the fact that you're not just grieving the proverbial heartbreak with this new disappointment, right? Because you were never finished grieving with the first disappointment. And that's really what the point of it is, if that makes sense. It's the fact of, and why I wanted to say like putting all of your eggs in one basket, it's something came to the surface and something else came in. And this is just like what I said with Capricorn, because with them, it came in the form of like, them getting a pay increase or whatever, getting some type of breakthrough. But I feel with you guys, it's more or less like a person or a situation that you are putting a lot of weight into, and it's either overhearing a conversation with this particular person, is realizing it isn't what it is that you thought it was, if that's making sense. Because it's like once you get beneath the surface, you see that it's all a facade. It's just superficial, and it's bringing up the same disappointment. But the point I'm trying to make is it's the fact that this disappointment existed in the first place that was never healed. It's just one seeing this particular thing as a solution to that disappointment is what the issue is, right? So it's kind of like, that's why that's set up. Like this shows up in the energy of the is not. So of course it's not going to be the Hierophant upright. It's not going to be the real deal, So it's more or less dodging a bullet, but I feel it's almost like internalizing this disappointment, because it's like a double loss. But it is and it isn't, because the most important thing is accepting the fact that you had never healed from the loss prior to this. I hope and pray that that's making sense, y'all, because I don't know if it is. Next card that we have is the 10 of Swords in the reverse. So that's a need to release. It's more or less, it's like a refusal to accept things as they are. And I have to go back to this too, with this being kind of a romantical kind of situation. There's very much the chance that this being like a romantic type of thing where the desire was for, okay, y'all, that is the network in the background. And I need to, let me turn that off real quick because I'm getting notifications from the network. I apologize for that. Oh, shoot, I can't do that. I'm uploading something. Oh, well, I'll just have to start over. But they're getting crunk on the network because I just posted some stuff. So that's going to keep dinging. But anywho, But more or less, it's like, this is something that transpired, but it's like an inability to accept it. So this could be like romantical wise, right? It's like thinking that a relationship was going to lead to marriage or to a commitment after the conversation with the person. You realize the person is like, oh, well, I don't believe in marriage, type of deal. So that whole vibe I'm getting of counting your chickens before they hatch is because how something showed up or when it showed up, it was kind of taking it for face value. But I feel that that's the lesson to be learned here. And I feel with this 10 of Swords in the reverse, it's really internalizing this grief or this loss when there's really a need to accept the ending and see it from another perspective. Because I'm concerned by this 3 of Wands in the reverse, because that's not seeing how to get past this. And if we ask like, well, what is it that, the person feels that they can't get past? It's like this 3 of Swords. It's like the mind attacking the heart. It's like the thoughts and the perspectives and the decisions or judgments that you've made about your experience or your situation is what's really holding you back. But that was never the intention. The intention was for you to learn from the prior experience. And dude, I have no idea what we're talking about, but it feels like monkey barring is what I call it. It's like, if you think about when kids swing on monkey bars, it's like you're in a situation and you're holding on, and then you swing to the other monkey bar. And as soon as you get a real good grasp on it, it's like you're going to swing on over to it. It feels like something like that. Like with Cancer, trying to jump onto the next thing, which is the same theme that I saw with Capricorn. It's something happens, but I mean, it's slightly different, but it's like something happens, right? That is disappointing, and it's on to the next thing. So it's almost like a person who, a relationship, and I don't know why I keep going back to relationships. It's like a romantic relationship doesn't work out, and it's like jumping right into another relationship, thinking that this person is going to be better than the last person, but never really taking time to grieve. Like, that's the best way I could put it, y'all. So I don't know what situation we're talking about, but if you use that hypothetical as like an example of the energy signature that I'm seeing, it's like on to the next thing. So it's never really dealing with the issue or the problem or, grieving over it. It's just jumping to the next thing, almost like a fear. And I don't even know why I'm saying this, like a fear of being alone or something like that. I don't know what this is talking about. The next card that we have is the Chariot in the reverse, and that's Cancerian energy. So dude, that's the thing. It's being out of alignment with yourself. And this is the thing, Cancer. I don't know. I don't know what this is talking about specifically. But I'm even seeing with this too, if this is a conversation someone else had with you. Like, say if someone called you guys out or something, like, and said, hey, I feel like you're doing this. Or even if you overheard like your family talking and them talking about, the way that you're handling things or whatever. It's the whole premise is not really so much how we got here, like the situation, circumstances, or the people that are involved that triggered this situation or ignited it. It's like the main lesson to learn here, which is the same thing that's coming up for everyone, is like unfinished business. It's like that really deep-seated thing that's existing within you that you're responding to, that is sponsoring your thoughts, that's sponsoring your behaviors and thus your actions, right? That are sponsoring the decisions that you're making. And it's like reacting to that. And a lot of the situations that you guys have found yourself in go back to that particular thing. And the disappointment comes in the fact that one is thinking the change or the difference lies externally. It's like the dude or chick that I was in a relationship with, they freaking sucked. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this like hypothetically and being really extreme with it to get you guys to get my point. But it's like, I wasn't the problem. They were. Like, they were extremely manipulative. They were, a narc or whatever. But it's not taking a step back and asking oneself, what is it about me that keeps attracting narcs? Or why am I attracted to narcs? Why do all of the people that I've been in a relationship with have this one thing in common? If that's making sense, right? And I feel with this, whether this is something that you overheard or a conversation that you actually had, I feel the thing that was really instigated was an alternative perspective of how it is that you perceived either yourself or what it is that was happening, right? And it's kind of like with that bubble being popped or being triggered, it's putting you guys in like almost like a dark place and not really knowing how to move forward from that. But the whole reason why this happened was to identify that this is happening so that you can acknowledge it, so that you can have power over it, so that it can stop having power over you. I hope and pray that that makes sense. Cancer, I love y'all so much. I really do. And I'm a Taurus, so I'm not light on my feet, but it's always so hard for me when I'm giving messages that come out like this for like Cancers or Pisces, because I'm trying to tread as lightly as possible and be honest and not, put whipped cream on shit, type of deal. But it's a pattern that I'm seeing. And I'm not in any way saying this to like try to blame you guys or say like, oh, it's all your fault. It's nothing like that. It's like, this is literally spirit trying to highlight like a wound and something that's never really been healed. And how this is like, if we were to talk about like Venus energy, magnetism, all this other kind of stuff, it's like we're drawing or magnetizing things into our life from that wound. And the reason for that is because spirit is trying to help you heal it through these situations and circumstances, but it's almost like the Tower in the reverse. That's the thing, man. That's Scorpio energy and Mars energy. It's like Six of Wands in the reverse. It here's the thing, Cancer. I'm trying so hard to tiptoe as I say this. And that's the Moon card. That's Cancerian energy again. The whole thing I feel with this is Cancer. If excuse me, if I were to bring this out of this romantical domain and I were to put it into like a everyday life situational type of thing, and I were to just tell a story, right? This would be something along the lines of like Cancer. Okay, we'll say it this way. Cancer has a Taurus friend. We'll even throw us Taurians in there, right? Cancer has a Taurus friend, right? And this Taurus friend is like, hey, so, the other night when we were at this thing, I noticed that you responded this particular way to this particular person, and them saying like, that was kind of like, rude, or that was an overreaction type of deal, right? And it's like, I feel like you're kind of making a big deal out of this and not seeing the other person's perspective. This is all hypothetical, right? And this is almost like Cancer being shocked, right? And appalled by it, maybe sitting and marinating with it for a little while, or maybe instantly for some of you, and being like, I see what this person is doing. They're trying to, suppress me. They're trying to control me. If I'm not that kind of person. I don't look at people like that. I don't respond to people like that. And it's like, now your perspective of this Taurus friend, you suddenly see them in a whole nother light, because it's like they're attacking you, right? Because it's like, why would they think that? Is that really what they think about me? And it's like, I don't even see how I can even be friends with them anymore. It's just so disappointing at the fact that they could see me this way. I'm nothing like that, right? And not saying that y'all literally did this. I'm just saying this to kind of get this energy signature out here, right? So now it's kind of sticking one's heels in, right? And now it's bringing up other stuff of like every single friendship, every person that you call a friend, every person that you let get close to you, they always freaking do this, right? So now it's like being said, and it's like, will I not have friends? Or this is why I don't trust people, so on and so forth type of deal, right? And it's kind of being stuck in a mental space of like ruminating over that, right? I've done so much for them, this and that, whoop-de-whoop, right? So yet again, it's cutting ties with this person, blocking them, whatever. We're not friends anymore. That brings us into this Chariot in the reverse, right? Because this is there's still something that's missing, that thing that's overlooked. This 5 of Cups in the reverse, the 3 of Wands in the reverse, the 3 of Swords, the 10 of Swords in the reverse, right? All of this energy, this is like the energy that Spirit is trying to help you guys to heal, because it's a mentality, and this started somewhere. You know what I mean? It's having a person once upon a time who really did do this, several people who really did do this to you, right? But why I use this example is because I feel with this particular person, it's not necessarily, and of course, here's my deal. This is a general reading on YouTube, and I have, 100,000 something subscribers and, whatever. So this is not personal, right? So if we're talking about someone who's like a, sociopath with narcissistic features, that is morbidly abusive, lacking empathy and any care for anyone in humanity, I'm not referring to people like that, right? So I'm just throwing that out there for what it is that I'm about to say. But it's more or less like that dynamic I felt of seeing this person as this really amazing person, and that's suddenly switching. In this scenario that I'm using, I don't really feel that this person had malicious intent. It was just them trying to say, hey, did you notice that you did this? But it's having a wounding or a triggering to where you're used to people who try to manipulate, control, dominate, undermine you, and things of the sort, to where it's not really judging the character of the person, and it's kind of writing them off to like, wow, you're just like everyone else type of thing. Now, where the problem in this comes in is because it's when we fall into an unteachable spirit, because it's when it's not being open to criticism. Now, granted, right? People who are emotionally mature, right, can watch a general tarot reading and say, that has nothing to do with my situation. That doesn't resonate with me. And it's no harm, no foul, right? It's like, that just doesn't resonate. You know what I mean? It's not that, and I'm not even just saying that for myself. I'm like anybody on YouTube. It doesn't have to be going in people comments and being like, oh, that's wrong, because because that's irrelevant, because you're emotionally mature enough to know that anyone that's on YouTube reading tarot cards, runes, whatever, do not know you personally, is not personally targeting you. You know what I'm saying? Isn't talking about the whole zodiac sign or something. It's just a message that came out that resonates with somebody. It's just not you, right? But that takes like a balance. You feel what I'm saying? But when I'm looking at this energy that I'm seeing, Cancer, it's almost like being on that extreme to where if a person were to point this out, it's being defensive. And I don't really feel this person had malicious intent. It was almost like trying to bring something to your attention. Now, mind you, if we're talking about, like I said, a raging narcissist or something, then yeah, they probably did. But that's not the type of situation that I'm talking about here. I feel this is really just a conversation that was had. And going back to that relationship dynamic, those would be the two biggest energies that I feel here. Well, three really, because this is either a conversation you had with someone and you realize what you thought they were, they aren't that, like meaning you thought this person was, I don't know, the best quilt maker in America. And then you talk to them and find out that they just started making quilts yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel away because it's like, damn, like I thought this person was going to be my key to get into the quilt making Olympics or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But on the other side of that, this is like a romantic situation with a person that you thought was going to be your person. And like this person, you have a conversation with them and them saying, I don't ever want to be married. That's not my stilo. Right. And then the third thing is this being like a conversation that a friend had with you. Right. And it's like your perspective of them completely shifting. And I feel in that instance, it's taking what was said out of context. Only if this person is not a raging narcissist that's, morbidly, verbally abusive and all this other kind of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? It's like a conversation with someone trying to bring something to your attention. And you have to be watchful of that because we're going to get into a little demonology right quick. But of course, how I was saying with the Hierophant and the reverse when it came out in the Scorpio reading and me saying like the whole Antichrist thing and all of that, if we were to put this into demonology terms, the demon that is very much in alignment, and I look at demons as mindsets and thought forms, strongholds, by the way, hence the tower upright or reverse. The tower period is a mental stronghold on your mind. It's when you're blind and can only see things one particular way, right? If we were to really go deep with it, the Antichrist energy in demonology terminology would be the spirit of Leviathan, right? And in demonology, the spirit of Leviathan or the demon of Leviathan is the only demon that a person can't be delivered from. Like you can't cast out the demon of Leviathan, if I were to put it in, deliverance ministry terms, right? This is the only demon where a person has to deliver themselves from it, right? Because the way that this works is with twisting things that people say, like not twisting it up in conversation, but a person can tell you something and it's like hearing it totally different, right? It's being unteachable, right? It's feeling as if like, I know what's happening. How dare you try to tell me what I'm doing when I know what I'm doing, right? So it's not being willing to hear correction. It's a bitterness, it's a spitefulness, it's hard-heartedness, and feeling like everyone is attacking you, and that's the reason why a person can't be delivered from it, is because the way that this mindset is set up is to not take in any information from an external source, because they know, like, I know that I know that I know. Don't tell me how to do my job. And again, Cancer, I am not saying that you guys are like this. Maybe this is about someone that if it doesn't resonate in that way. But the whole thing that I'm saying is here, This situation yet again has happened to bring Cancer or whoever we're talking about back to the root of whatever this is, right? There's a grave grief or loss that transpired, right? Once upon a time that stopped Cancer from being able to see how to get past this hurt and this loss because it was that grave. So it's going through life with this brokenheartedness, right? And not really having moved past this point. So this could be a myriad of different things. This could be a loss of, a parent, a loved one, one's first love, what have you. But it's this energy, this 5 of Cups in the reverse, the 3 of Wands in the reverse, the 3 of Swords and the 10 of Swords in the reverse. This being the energy that is carried around in Cancer's aura, right? Or things you're constantly thinking about in your mind. It's never having gotten over this, forgave oneself, forgave someone else, or let it go. You know what I mean? Even if this is like old school parental figure, teacher, professor, whatever, that said something to you that cut you so deeply, it's still carrying that with you. And the victory and the forward movement that Cancer is looking for, the reason why that may be slow in coming, or it seems to be very up and down, is because of being out of alignment with oneself. It's like the person that Cancer is identifying with, it's not authentic Cancer. It's this person who was hurt really, really bad. You know what I'm saying? A person who was hurt really, really bad. And like I was saying, this goes back to this person. It's a myriad of different ways that this energy could play out, Cancer, but it all starts with a communication that you overheard or that you directly had with someone, that gravely disappointed you, that completely changed like the game. And it's someone else coming in, right? That seems to be a reflection of this, right? But because one is carrying around this energy, it's almost like having scales over your eyes. That's, by the way, the spirit of Leviathan is where that turn of phrase comes from. When people say remove the scales from your eyes, it's not the Libra scales, it's reptile scales, because Leviathan is like a crocodile. He was created on the 6th day, by the way. But it's like it's spiritual blindness, and it's the source of it is hard-heartedness. It's being so gravely disappointed or so grief-stricken or wounded by a person that now it's a guard that's permanently up, and you can't trust people because I don't know if you're trying to play with my head. I don't know if you're trying to sabotage me type of thing. Totally get it, but in order for a person to be healed from this, and not saying this in like bop on the forehead type of healed, is with this Tower, right? That's why the Tower card is my favorite card, because the Tower is when we've gotten so far away from ourselves that we don't even see it. Like we don't even realize it, because now we're high in this tower and we're able to look around and see everything that's happening, and we're protected, but we're so far out of alignment with ourselves, which leads us into the 6 of Wands in the reverse. It's like, even if there are victories per se, like, things will work out, you meet a new partner, meet a new friend, it's still never that full-on sense of victory because this energy is combating with all of this. So this is about like coming into one with yourself, Cancer, again, with this Moon card, right? This is all speaking to the subconscious. Like this is deep-seated wounds that one has been carrying, and your persona, how it is that you're acting in the world, is a byproduct of this wounding. And it's really needing to face this once and for all, to process it and to heal from it. But I mean, one has to be willing to hear that. One literally has to be willing to heal that. To hear that. Because I feel in this particular instance, why this Tower in the reverse here is because it's like, I don't want to say a missed opportunity, but it's like it's dodging the bullet of the tower, because whether, if it's the conversation with the friend, it's not being in the mindset of, this is my friend. My friend loves and cares about me. They wouldn't do something like that to me, right? Like, I've known them for some time or whatever. It's like, they don't have malicious intentions. I don't have any reason to think that. Let me hear them out and see, like, where can I see like some connections in this? Or tell me more about that. Like, what did I say? What did I do? You know what I mean? And really hearing them out, as opposed to jumping into a defensiveness. That could have been a tower where a connection could have been made, where it's like, whoa, damn, I didn't even realize that I came at them like that. And it's like, damn, why the hell did I do that? Why did I come for them like that? That person ain't never did me nothing. And it just takes one little bit of self-reflection like that for the wheels to start turning in your mind, where you start thinking of other instances like, damn, such and such back in the day did tell me that before. And wow, this person said that too. Now, all these people don't know each other. So all these people who are complete strangers can't all be in cahoots with each other, like they having secret meetings about you or something. But if all these people who don't know each other are saying the same thing, maybe that's something that we can look at, right? Because that, again, personal accountability, personal responsibility. It's no fear in saying that, like, to self-reflect a little bit, even San Guru even says that a little bit of self-doubt, Osho has said this too, a little bit of self-doubt is healthy. Not in the sense of, I don't think I can do it, but in the sense of, if someone brings something to your attention, it's like, do I do that? That's a little bit of self-doubt, but if it comes to a place where it's like instant defensiveness, no, I'm not doing that, that's like projecting a past situation onto this present situation. And that would really be the truth of why there's a difficulty in moving forward, because one isn't seeing themselves, right? It's being very self-protective, and that's what causes one to dodge the tower. And I'm not saying that this is a missed opportunity, but it's a chance that's missed for you to get it, or to see it, or to have that aha or that epiphany, like breakthrough kind of moment. You know what I mean? And that's not how you guys would want to continue forward. And I've said something like this to you guys before. And this might have been like in August, where I was saying something about, when I was saying like having an eye infection and having like crusty, pussy kind of eyes, and a friend that doesn't have the eye infection saying like, oh, that's a blue truck. And you're like, no, that's not a blue truck. It's a car. I know what I'm looking at, but oblivious to the fact that, your eyes are swollen shut, so you can't see the whole picture, and being kind of like putting your heels into the sand and refusing to hear another perspective on it. It's like that's an unteachable spirit. It's like, there's none of us, dude. Like, another person can't tell you who you are. Another person can't tell you what you should or should not feel. That's your right and authority as a human being. That's narcissistic type of stuff. I know you better than you know yourself. Yes, that's very narcissistic. A person can't tell you how to feel, because you have the right to feel what you want to feel. But if you have a person who's in a position in your life that you value, like if this is a friend, and you call this person friend, and there's never been any reason for you to think that this person would have it out for you. Like, they've never given you an example that they're out to get you. If the person is saying, yo, dude, that was kind of mean what you did to such and such, and not saying that literally happened, but it's like, that's kind of mean how you came at such and such. It's like, why wouldn't you hear the person out? They wouldn't have brought it to your attention if they didn't care about you. It's the thought of, why would one jump to conclusions and think I'm being attacked? you know? And why does one feel like they're being attacked? You know what I'm saying? And that can become a whole little convoluted thing because it's like, oh, well, how they came at me. Well, how did they come at you? You know? And this is stuff, once again, since we've been talking about therapy a lot this month already, that's one of those things that happen in a dialogue and in therapy, to where people have breakthroughs because we perceive things one way. It's like, oh, they raised their voice at me, so of course they were being disrespectful. But it's like, well, what if the person just speaks loud? Like, do you see a history of them speaking loud? It's like, well, they shouldn't have come at me like that. Well, do they know that they shouldn't come at you like that? Yeah, it's like there's so many dynamics to this. And what I'm really trying to say here, Cancer, is that if we choose to have a perspective on life and not hear people out, to not have a conversation about things, to not get clear on things. And mind you, I know this is difficult. I had a very similar conversation with my staff a little bit earlier today where we were talking about this. People who are narcissistic are outliers and stuff like this. But with people not understanding what narcissism is or what the difference between narcissism, antisocial personality disorder, histrionic, borderline, like people not really knowing what this stuff is, but are just going off of very broad generalizations of things and not an actual warranted diagnosis. Everybody and their mama is a narcissist. Everybody and their mama is triggered. Everyone is hypersensitive. A person can't say anything without being problematic or insulting these days, for number one, right? But if we've experienced a romantic relationship, friendship, parent that was narcissistic, and we've never healed, like never processed this, never been to therapy, never talked about it, never overcame it, then we're a walking trigger. You feel what I'm saying? So it's becoming unteachable in the sense that there's no guidance or correction could be offered because you know already. And this is something I discussed last month. I think it was like in Pisces reading, where I was talking about even when it comes to spiritual gifts, how we can be intuitive and we can become self-righteous in that, where it's like, oh, spirit speaks to me. You can't tell me this and that. Like, it's a thin line that we're learning to walk here, where no, you don't allow another person to tell you who you are, right? Or what you think, or tell you that they know you better than you know yourself, because that's just not possible. You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, we don't want to be so completely on the defense that we're not able to receive any form of guidance, constructive criticism from other people, right? It's like we have to learn how to, and this is what I was telling my staff, it's like, that's why it's so important to know a person's character, to know, like, if you call a person friend, how they deal with their anger. If they're your romantic partner, like how they deal with their anger. If you're in an argument, knowing that a person needs a few minutes to take a step back if they're really upset before they give you an answer, and respecting that, you know? But it's like a lot of times it's us being triggered and going off on this whole reel and like cutting people off left and right. And we're dodging these towers that are set up to save us from ourselves. And we're digging even deeper into this mindset and moving farther and farther away from people, you know, because I feel that's what the whole premise of this, Cancer, like the whole premise of this was to make a connection of something that's happening subconsciously, a subconscious process that one has that's operating in your periphery that you're not seeing that you're doing. And that's something all of us are guilty of, you know? And it's like, even if you do work on yourself, it may be some little, quirk that you have of, laughing at serious stuff or something like that. And if a person tells you, hey, when I said my dog died and you bust out laughing, I was really hurt by that. Oh, well, you think I laughed because I wanted to hurt you? Like, that's just how I am. And it's like, what, you want to change me? You want me to be someone different? You want me to change? Like, I'm not about to. And it's like, dude, I didn't say all that. I just said that I was hurt when you laughed at my dog dying. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, that can be a moment that can bring people closer, that can bring something into our awareness that we didn't know that we were doing. But if we're so much on the defense and not open to receiving, correction, guidance, whatever, it's like we end up getting stuck in this energy. And I feel the whole premise of this, Cancer, is helping you guys see this. I hope that this makes sense, y'all. Like, child, people probably gonna feel the way about this reading. For real. Because I can see all of the good in this, but it's just an energy that's being recycled because it's something that needs to be confronted and healed and released. Otherwise, one is going to stay in the situation and dive even deeper and deeper and deeper into it. You know what I'm saying? And don't be creeped out by the Leviathan thing. Because like I said, it's a mindset, but it's a very real one, and it's pretty much it's the same thing as the Antichrist spirit, because it's stagnant. There is no growth in it, because in order for growth, there needs to be movement. There needs to be an openness to receiving, to hearing, to seeing things from another perspective. But when we're so convinced that we have it all right already, there's nothing else to learn. And that's not a place that any of us are in, and like I said, Cancer, maybe this not you, maybe this somebody that I don't know. The Sagittarius sure did have someone like this in their reading, where them being set in their ways. But I don't know, Cancer. I hope that this helps, man. Like, a reading like this for a water sign is always so hard for me, though. I'm like, all these people gonna hit unsubscribe. They're gonna be in the comments yelling at me. Let me tell you something. This is my narcissistic ex. It's not me. Calling me toxic and things. You're on YouTube with your toxic messages. This is garbage. You call yourself a therapist. These are all of the things of why it is I just went through my whole little learning curve with everything I talked about the Scorpio reading, all of that stuff. But Cancer, I hope and pray. I know that those of you who this is for are going to get it, but I mean, this is heavy. Surrender negative thinking. This is a part of you guys, a card for you guys extended, which is your 2022 soul scope. And it says surrender negative thinking. And a lot of this is fruit of negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. That is so extremely important, Cancer, because I feel it's a perspective. And I mean, I get it. Like, I totally get how that happens, but it's a skewed perspective on what's really happening here. You know what I mean? It's kind of seeing anyone who comes at you in that vibration of like an is not, you know what I mean? Like, and like I said, if y'all dated a narcissist or had a narcissistic parent, you had a person who's controlling and dominating that made you doubt yourself and were telling you who you were. And I get that. But if there's other people who come into your life that are correcting, like your boss, that's like, hey, next time you do that PowerPoint, don't do it this way. Well, what are you trying to say? I'm incompetent? And it's like, no, I'm just saying not to do it that way. Well, that's the way that you showed me. Oh, I get it. Oh, I see. Okay, no problem. And just kind of writing it off like that, it's like you don't want to get to that place because it's a defensiveness, and that defensiveness is what's keeping that wound there. That's why all of these cards of a lack of movement forward are here, because this is like spirit still saving you from yourself. so that you don't move forward into new energy with the same mentality, because it's just going to recreate the same situation over and over and over again. And it all starts in our heads. It's all about our thoughts and our perceptions on things. That's what influences what it is that we're seeing, how we're interpreting, our experiences, and so on and so forth. It's like seeing everything as worst case scenario. You know what I mean? And always feeling it's some sort of an attack. And it's like, I can't stop saying that because that's like the vibe I feel. It's like a person who always feels hella attacked by everyone, almost to where people have to walk on eggshells, literally, like walking on eggshells, being afraid of saying something the wrong way or coming at you wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and if someone does say something, it's like it gets kind of shut down on some stuff, but it's needing to be open to see that there's areas to grow, because we all have areas to grow. I hope that makes sense, y'all. The next card you guys have for your extended is Purge, release. Oh, well, hello, come on. Releasing of repressed emotions. Cancer, please listen to your friend Marlo. I'm just saying, during this Venus retrograde, which starts on the 19th of December, this is a better time than ever before to take a deep dive and deal with this stuff. And for what it is that I'm seeing, Cancer, I would not even suggest just journaling out your emotions. For the caliber to what it is that I'm seeing, this is something that would greatly benefit from going to see a therapist in real life. I'm not saying this is anything negative. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just that with these emotions being so deep, you need to be in a safe space to be able to comb through this and process this and express all of this. You know what I mean? I don't feel like this feels so deep to me that this isn't something a person should be dealing with alone, because I feel in the bigger scheme of things, this is like the ball and chain that you've been carrying that's making it really hard just to move forward in your life, because it feels like it's the same bullshit over and over again. Every time you meet another person, they end up being just like everybody else. Like, that's how I feel you guys are seeing it from your perspective. Like you can't win on some stuff. And it's not saying in any way that you guys are to blame for people being shitty people or anything, but it's just the fact that there's this stuff. This stuff has a magnetism to it. And it's drawing these experiences in a way of spirit saying like, hey, look at that. See that right there? Like, that's happening. Let's pay attention to this. Let's deal with this. I hope this helps, Cancer. Ciao. I love you guys. I'm going over to my network and Vimeo and Patreon and YouTube members and all the places to do you guys extended, that of which is the 2022 Soul Scope. So if you're about that life, follow me on over there. But if not, I still love your freaking face, and I'll see you guys sooner than later, my friends. I love your face, Cancer. I really, really do.